Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Barakata Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rukwakadash. Double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of Great Mr. Ruwell, and to the Akim around the four corners of the earth, preaching the gospel of Hamashiach Yahushua in sincerity and in truth and diligence of mind and in faith. Alright, this is Brother Nasher, DC Camp, short lesson for the hopeful elect. Yeah, so you see on the screen, man, the whole depiction of the preparation, or let me say the ongoing, protection of the Capitol. And I'm just gonna, give a quick, lesson about, the downfall of Babylon, man. It just shows you that, this place is going down the drain. All right, so it's evidence, man, that the whole operation, man, for that protest was to bring about more clampdown on so-called civil liberties and to introduce draconian legislation, and that's exactly what the elites want, and they have to generate an event, and they were successful in pushing that agenda. And you're not going to be surprised. The more the Lord reveals things to you, the more knowledgeable and wise you become. All right, you're not easily caught up in all the hysteria and all the so-called news commentary about a so-called protest. So without further ado, I'll go to a quick precept. It's going to be from the book of Sirach, chapter 10, verse 1. All right. So, the book of Sirach, chapter 10, verse 1 tells you that a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. All right. Sirach, chapter 10, verse 1. A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. So it just shows you, man, how much chaos that happened on that day. All right. So a lot of, anger and frustration, and people got hurt. Said folks died, but hey, that's exactly what happens when situation gets out of hand, and it just shows you how the whole place had to collapse under the weight of the protesters. You have the Capitol Police, giving up and letting the folks in because help did not arrive in time. All right, so it just shows you that the swamp, the so-called swamp, Trump said it was going to drain. It's a huge swamp, man. It's not just in the political establishment. It's also in the military. It's in law enforcement. It's in your so-called financial sectors. It's just it's no joke, man. So those that want to do good, they basically find themselves in the wrong spot and their hands are tied. They can't do nothing. So let me just play the video real quick.
And nevertheless, despite the clear breakdowns at the Capitol, we must get to the bottom of why that very day it took the Defense Department so long to deploy the National Guard once the need for reinforcements became patently clear on every TV screen in America.
At 1:30 p.m. on January 6th, we watched as the Metropolitan Police Department began to employ officers to support the Capitol Police. In doing so, the officers began to withdraw from the traffic control points that were jointly manned with District of Columbia Guardsmen. At 1:49 p.m., I received a frantic call from then Chief of United States Capitol Police Stephen Son, where he informed me that the security perimeter of the United States Capitol had been breached by hostile rioters. Chief Son, his voice cracking with emotion, indicated that there was a dire emergency at the Capitol, and he requested the immediate assistance of as many available National Guardsmen that I could muster. Immediately after that 149 call, I alerted the U.S. Army senior leadership. The approval for Chief Sun's request would eventually come from the Acting Secretary of Defense and be relayed to me by Army senior leaders at 5:08 p.m., about 3 hours and 19 minutes later. I had already had guardsmen on buses at the Armory ready to move to the Capitol. Consequently, at 5:20 p.m., less than 20 minutes, the District of Columbia National Guard.
Yeah, sure. Just shows you, man, that was it was all orchestrated, So for these so-called protests, to generate the perfect result that the elites want, they need cooperation, with their stooges to make sure that that those cops that want to keep law and order, that they are held back, by any means necessary. And that's the reason why they have so-called gatekeepers. And it's all, smoke screen for them to capitalize on their power grab. And, it's beautiful, man, that it's all leading, to, Isaiah chapter 19. It tells you about the Egyptians shall go against the Egyptians, and also in the second Ezra's, tells you in chapter 15. So another precept I will read will be from the book of Proverbs chapter 25, verse 19. It says, confidence in an unfaithful man in time of trouble is like a broken tooth and a foot out of joint. Yeah, so when the head of the Capitol Police couldn't get no help, in time, I help the order to get the National Guard came in about 3 hours later. So it just shows you, man, that that it was all a plan for the whole. It's like let the tension build up so they could have an excuse, to distract the people from doing what is really necessary. So that's how it is, man. These Democrats and Republicans are all the same, So even the same thing with 9/11, it just shows you how much they don't really care about the truth. That's why they had to bury it. And, it just shows you, man, that you got to stay away from this protest, man. Because the same person standing next to you, you'll be the same person that's willing, to, to throw you under the bus. That's why you don't engage in all these so-called acts of civil disobedience, man. You gotta be spiritual, and you gotta stay with your own business. The Lord has already told you in Proverbs chapter 15, drink waters out of their own cistern. All right, so you don't have no time for politics. All right, you gotta be spiritual. So I read it again, Proverbs chapter 25, verse 19. Confidence in an unfaithful man in time of trouble is like a broken tooth and a foot out of joint. So hey, it's how Babylon is, man, a land of confusion. When you think you're gonna get back up, there is no backup, and that's why it's important to put your trust in the Lord Hamashiach Yahushai. All right, and you gotta let go of this place. That's why the book of Revelation tells our people to come out of her, that will be not partakers of her sins. All right, because you don't want to get judged with this place, man. And Isaiah chapter 19, verse 14 says, the Lord Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Kwakadash hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. So that's exactly what happened. Yeah, those folks, those rioters, man, they overwhelmed the Capitol Police, man. MPD, who knows what MPD was doing? National Guard didn't show up on time because they were held back. And that's how, the elites play the game. They have their so-called gatekeepers to make sure things go according to plan. All right, because the devil knows that he has a short time, so he has to push to have certain events take place, man. Certain events that cause a lot of shock and awe. All right, so just keep your eyes open, man. It's beautiful, man. You see that the Lord's about to get us out of here. So another precept will be from the book of Second Ezra, chapter 15, and 16. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." So that's a vibration that America is leaning towards, man. That's where America is right now. And the folks are tired of the lip service of all these so-called politicians because they already know that they're already bought and paid for. And their allegiance is not to the so-called American people. Their allegiance is to the corporation, and to the owners of the corporation. These so-called Amalekites. So that's how the show is, man. You also understand that the way you see things is not really the way it is in reality. Because that's why you have to be spiritual. And the oil of gladness that I salve, it really helps for you to see, beyond the smoke screen. And you see how all these puppets have been moved, to achieve the will of the elites, man. So you just gotta pay attention, man. So it's not just the military, man, and these politicians. You got the FBI, you got the CIA involved, and then you got the banks too. So it's one big old coordinated drama, and they also have the airlines. So then you got the cell phone companies involved. It's just terrible car rentals and all that stuff. So you gotta be circumspect in this last days, man, because this elite ain't playing no games, man. They want that birthright back so bad at all costs that they're willing to throw their own so-called, centurions under the bus. So let me play the video some more.
Arrived at the Capitol and were being sworn in by the United States Capitol Police.
Said that you were able to get immediate authorization in the summer of 2020 during those protests. General Walker, was the issue of optics ever brought up by Army leadership when the D.C. National Guard was deployed during the summer of 2020? Was that discussed?
It was never discussed the week of June. It was never discussed July 4th when we were supporting the city. It was never discussed August 28th when we supported the city.
Did you think that was unusual?
I did.
Yeah, I also thought it was odd, and I think you said it was unusual and very prescriptive, that the January 5th letter required the Secretary of the Army to approve the movement of deployed guardsmen from one traffic control point to another. Did you find that unusual?
19 years, I never had that before happen. So on that day, the Metropolitan Police, as they would any other day, requested that a traffic control point move one block over. No traffic was where they were, so They wanted the traffic control point to move one block. I had to get permission. I told them, I'll get back to you. I contacted Lieutenant General Pyatt, who contacted the Secretary of the Army. I had to explain where that traffic control point was in relationship to the Capitol, and only then did I get permission to move the three National Guardsmen supporting the Metropolitan
These are
Police
three
Department.
unarmed National Guardsmen who are helping with traffic control, in part so that Metropolitan Police can do other things. And
Yeah, so when all hell break loose, man, a lot of these cops and all this National Guard, man, they're gonna get their asses handed over to them because of the because of the agenda of the elites, man. That's why you gotta be careful. I should drive around, man, because when all hell's breaking loose, man, you know, a lot of a lot of our people that are stuck in these so-called government jobs, and have to do centurion activities. They're up for a rude awakening, they're up for a challenge, and they'll have to take matters into their own hands. All right. So the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, verse 12 says, "For man also knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in an evil net, and as the birds that are caught in the snare, so are the sons of men snared in an evil time, when it falleth suddenly upon them." Yeah, so just gonna turn into a chaotic environment very soon, man, because you already hear about the threats to the so-called politicians up there on Capitol Hill, man. So it's atmosphere of Babylon right now. That tense situation. So you just gotta be spiritual and let the Lord, how about Shema Shai, about Shema Kadash, continue to guide you and to make you circumspect. All right, because it's getting treacherous, man. You see the treachery on display, and a lot of people that did not even, set foot into the capital. Now they have to live with it. They have to live with the fear and all the torment and all the frustration that coming their way. So as a man of the Lord, you already know that serving the Lord requires a cost, and these folks don't count the cost, man. So that's why it's important when you come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. And you gotta be careful when you're brought to a low estate, all right? So you don't fold, for doing the work of the Lord, all right? Just like those folks folded when they got put all over the news and all that stuff. So just stay spiritual, and the Lord Hamashiach Yahushai, we get thee out of thy calamities. Shalom.